Hello? Am I back? Did they let me back on here? Alright, so we're gonna all just pretend like we don't know what just happened there. And I'm gonna just go back and try to pick up where I left off. I was answering questions about moving to Ghana. And I think the last thing I was talking about was whether we were welcomed or not. And I was talking about the slave dungeons and do I drive stick? No, I don't drive stick because I don't know how. Alright, recommended persons to contact in America or Ghana in reference to St. Joseph or Fiancre project. It's not the St. Joseph project, it is just the Ghana Joseph project. So if you're looking for it, it's just the Ghana Joseph project. And the Fiancre project is just the way you've got it spelled there, but it's an H there, so it's Fihankra. The best place to look for information will be to start online. You can look on the embassy, the Ghana embassy website. It's an official website, and check those out and start there. But the easiest way to get involved with the programs is actually once you're there visiting. Just stop by, check out some regions, see where you actually feel like you might be comfortable living, because you're going to have to talk to the chiefs in that area. With Fiancre, it's actually a set place, so it's a little bit easier. You just pretty much look into the program and see how you apply. Let's see, how are we treated? I think I touched on that, but just in case anybody missed it, we're treated well. We're treated with respect. We're not seen as a different culture or different, there's nobody going to tell you that you're not African, etc., etc. Let's see, does your company work with building container? Does my company work with building container homes? Yes, actually we do. There's a lot of designs that you can check out. I'll put you guys in touch. Just inbox me about stuff like that. But if you want to look up my chief designer, his name is Isaac Koomson, Koomson. You can add him on Facebook and ask him a lot of questions, more so about what kind of things we build, the price ranges, how long it takes to build certain things, areas that you might be interested in building, stuff like that. He can give you like the specifics on that. Let's see. I don't like buying things from non-authentic African things. Yeah, it's true. You have to be careful when you buying stuff that says it's African. Just try to get a connection with somebody who lives on the continent, so you don't have to worry about that type of stuff. Or get your own connection. Go there and visit. When you visit, you will meet so many people that are not going to just like disappear out of your life. Like when I came back from Ghana the first time, one of the things I noticed was that like my friends in Ghana were calling me every day, not like they wanted something or wanted me to do something like that. It's just they think it's really cool to have a connection, and they keep in touch, and you have to be like that. And when you have a friend or a couple friends who live in another country, they can keep you in touch and keep you up to date with stuff like that and what's going on and the happenings and how to get stuff that you want authentic, clothes, jewelry, food samples. I don't know what kind of food you might want to get sent overseas, but there's stuff that non-perishables and stuff. People send stuff all the time and it's authentic. So just get a connection with a person who lives on the continent. It's the best way. Let's see. I was considering moving to South Africa. Let me just give a quick one. South Africa is not the place to go, in my opinion. I haven't been there. I'm going to be clear about that. I've not been there, but from everything that I've seen and the people who I know who have been there, Ghana, for instance, is like the New York of West Africa. So the same way where if you're an American, you know that you can go to New York and you're going to meet people who are from everywhere from Arkansas to Wisconsin to Texas to New York to other countries. Everyone's going to be in New York, some of everybody. Same with Ghana. When you go to Ghana, you're going to meet people from Ethiopia, from Nigeria, from Liberia. You're going to have people in Ghana who live everywhere. So it's a good place to go if you want to get an idea of other places from meeting people who are from those places. Saying all that to say, I don't recommend going to South Africa. It's like going back in time to going to the United States in the 1960s. You know, they say apartheid is over, but it's really not. They still have, for instance, there's a city called Orania, and it's not the only one, but it's a city that's all whites only. Black people are not allowed in the city whatsoever, and this is on African soil in 2016. It went so far as to when when South Africa actually got a new president who outlawed apartheid and outlawed having a all black this and all white that, this particular city went so far as to create their own currency so that they could circumvent the entire government of South Africa and still have an all white city to this day. So South Africa is a little backwards to me. It's very, very openly white supremacist. You know, the whole world is still under white supremacy, but in South Africa is very, very open and obvious, and there are still places where there's a white majority. That's only in South Africa. South Africa is the only part of Africa where you will find that. So I personally don't necessarily, again, I haven't been there, so it's not a place I can personally advocate, but if I just had to go based on knowledge and gut instinct, I wouldn't say that is a place I recommend to go right off the bat if you're trying to get out of the whole you know, I'm an African American, I'm a minority, I'm under this huge oppression, I want to experience, you know, some different culture. South Africa is not probably going to be the place to go, from what I've heard and read and understood from people who are from there. But, you know, everybody's experiences are different. I would hate to, you know, blacklight a whole country based on just my opinion. But if somebody from South Africa can say that what I'm saying is not true, please let me know. Let's see. Will militaries decide to go on a go on a murdering spree and overthrow the government? I think that can happen in any country. It has happened in a lot of African countries in the recent history that we have heard about. I won't say recent, but, you know, coups and you know, in colonial history, you know, we've read about and heard about coups and overthrows of governments, and even up to recently talking about like Iraq, Iran, Egypt, Sudan, all these countries where the U.S. military went to right before or after such a uprising. But anyway, you know, those things happen, and, you know, you can't really predict it, but I don't see something like that going on in Ghana right now. There was a lot of unhappiness, and there is still, towards the current president, Mahama, because of doomsor. We call doomsor, meaning light off. When, you know, you have power that gets, you know, shared between the communities, and sometimes there's not enough because of, you know, government waste, blah blah blah. But the biggest problem is because 90% of the oil is paid out to the United States. You know, no one wants to face that reality, but it is what it is. So there was a little bit of uprising about that, but nobody was going to go in there and shoot the man and take over his, you know, his castle or whatever it may be. You know, so no, I don't see a militia situation happening and overthrowing the Ghanaian government. Not right now. So, all right, on to the questions on this video. Did the ancestors teleport me? No, I wish they had. I really do. I'm ready to not, you know, be here anymore. So let's see. Went to the bedroom, to the beach, and back. Let's see. What about work? Take a look at the first video. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time covering the same things because I know people got a lot of questions. But yeah, the first video we covered as far as work, you can either get a job or start your own business. It's really easy to do either. But if you have the opportunity, take the chance to start your own thing. You know, branch out. What's the worst that can happen? What is the worst? That's been my motto since I decided to leave, you know, America. What in the hell is the worst that can happen? Like, what's going on anywhere else in the world that you are not already experiencing here. You know what I mean? Like, for the love of God, go try to find start your business there. What's the worst that can happen? Start a life over there. What's the worst that can happen? You know, start a lease over there. What's the worst that can happen? You know, shit. Get pregnant, have a baby over there. What's the worst that can happen? Shit. You know, live your life. You know, explore, expand. You know, especially if you're talking about doing it on your continent. You know, your homeland. You know, do that. They say South Africa is like America. It is like America in the 40s. Okay? Very tourist-like. Yeah, if you are of a certain persuasion. Please remain the world citizen instead of hating on the lighter skin tone. My previous incarnation, I was a black Nigerian who was treated as a slave and dozens of whips of punishment. I ain't black, but my spirit has no color. Scrolling on. So is it easy to go from country to country with not much limitations? I'm coming back to you. Don't think I'm not coming back to you. So is it easy to go from country to country with not much limitations? Yeah. So when I first got there, this is 3 years ago. No, my first visit there, 2012. This almost 4 years ago. There was a lot of visa requirements even to go from the neighboring country, you know. But what I've been reading and what I have heard confirmed is that they are lifting or have lifted all visa requirements. Ghana, anyway, has lifted all visa requirements for Africans continent-wide traveling. So Africans from any country coming into Ghana and Africans from any country returning to their country from Ghana, their visa requirements have been lifted or heavily relaxed. So now it should be pretty easy to go from country to country, traveling back and forth under the new regulations. Let's see. How do you feel about Mugabe? So, me, like most Africans, when Mugabe first made his recent move and his decision to publicly exile or what's the word I want to say? Evict foreign European settlers who have been sitting on Zimbabwean land for however many years without farming it and without being productive to the country. You know, he decided to take those lands and give them back to the Zimbabwean people and have it farmed so that they don't have to buy food from other countries, buy food from China, and risk getting GMO foods and plastic rice. You know, so that I felt like was an absolutely positive and critical decision that had to be made for Zimbabwe and should be made across Africa. If you are a foreigner, first of all, the law is that you can't own land. You can lease it for up to 50 years. And when your 50 years is up, you either release it or get out if the country wants to release it to you. Zimbabwe did not want to lease the lands again, and those people didn't want to leave, so they got evicted. That's the way it went. I clearly agree with that. I have no problem at all with Mugabe's decision to do that. Now, here's my issue. Politicians are politicians. Mugabe did that, and then he became like a symbol of, you know, a symbol to rally behind for Africans, and people caught hold of that. They saw that he had the trust of the African people, and they manipulated that. The reason I say that, I fell right in line. You know, I was an avid Mugabe supporter. You know, every time he said something in an interview, I was posting it. Yeah, Mugabe, you tell him, you know, you stand up for Africa, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, the United Nations had an event where the African Union, there were certain members that were not invited. Mugabe was one of them because of his actions and his views. He was not invited to the UN summit. None of the African leaders, none of the other 52, Gaddafi's dead. None of the other 52 members of the African Union jumped up to stand up for Mugabe or say that he should go, or that they wouldn't attend if he couldn't go, or to say that Africa having an African Union is our own sovereignty and the United Nations should have no power to tell us who can and can't come and represent our continent. You know, none of them had the balls to get up and say that, so they all attended the summit and left Mugabe, you know, at home. So this laid, you know, the foundation for everyone to see that there's a disagreement there. Mugabe's not necessarily a popular person among the AU. So where and how did that turn around in less than 6 months, where Mugabe becomes the chairman of the African Union? How'd that happen? Who voted him in? How'd they do that if they weren't even supportive enough of him to stand up for him when he was banned from the UN summit? That makes sense. So something to me is awry with that. And then the first thing I see him do as the chairman of the African Union is to link up with the United States, the same Western government and Western system that he has devoted and said that he hates so much and can't stand anything they stand for, and created a United States and African CDC under his leadership with the African Union. Now, me just being a person who asks questions and I'm not biased, I'm not going to sit back and say that just because you're Obama and you black, you're doing the right thing, or just because you're Mugabe and you did the right thing with the farmers, that I'm going to sit up and agree with this. I don't agree with that. That sounds absolutely preposterous, and it sounds like you became a symbol, people caught onto that, used you, and now you've kind of sold your image, you know. And that's what I'm seeing. I don't see any other rationale for why this man, who has made his following by teaching about how the illnesses and the poisons and the brainwashing of the Western systems, and then the first thing you do with your power is start an African United States CDC, and you know what they do with their CDC. I mean, it threw me off. So Mugabe, to me, the jury is out. I'm not out here openly supporting it. I go decision by decision. As far as him putting the farmers out of Zimbabwe, rah rah rah, go go go. Every other country needs to follow the same model. If you are buying, if you are an African country that is buying food from somewhere else, you need to do what Mugabe did, because if you got land and seeds, you should not be buying no damn rice from China. I mean, come on, people. Damn, we didn't put the fucking pyramids to the stars. We can't fucking figure out A plus B equals C. I mean, damn, you shouldn't be buying no rice from China when you could plant your own rice. Like, come on. So there's all kind of intentional barricades put in the way to make that stuff have to happen. We're not stupid. We didn't just decide we wanted to buy rice from China. People did things that made it to a point where we actually are in a position where we have to do these things. So Mugabe is one of the leaders who did turn around and fight back and say, no, y'all have to get off my land. I'm not giving you another 50 years to sit on my most fertile farmlands and just hold them up and make us have to buy food from neighboring countries and, you know, fight over resources. And no, get out. Get out. That's what he did. Bravo. Bravo, Mugabe. So far as that, great. The next things he did, not so great. So I'm not a Mugabe fanatic right now. Let's see. We gotta get earrings like nah. I actually just got this thing, man. I had two and I lost one. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good look. I want to get some actual custom ones made in this city in Ghana called Prestea. It's actually called the City of Gold, Prestea. And you can actually go there and you can buy authentic gold straight out of the mines, and you can have them make things out of it for you. Like, I want to go and get some real, like, fucking royal pharaoh king god earrings made out of authentic Ghanaian gold, you know, that nobody else touched yet. Let's see. I said the same, man. I met this girl from Sierra Leone. She said that white people cause limitations with passports and trying to force tribes to live together who aren't meant to live together. I know a lot of people from Sierra Leone just from when the whole Ebola thing was going on, and yeah, there's a lot of, obviously, as we all know, bull going on with limitations and all kind of foreign policies that limit how we interact with each other and make it harder for us to come together, and even make it harder for us to even want to come together or know more about each other. So passports, visas, like I said, the timing of the flood that did happen in Ghana, we know they have weather control. I'm not about to sit here and act like I'm not talking to some people who know what's going on. Ghana lifted those passport bans less than a month ago. Ghana publicly refused the Ebola vaccine less than, 3 months ago, when they officially rolled out the vaccine and tried to give it to Ghana. Ghana said no, and then a couple months later they actually have this pandemic or this disaster going on. I mean, I don't think it could be coincidence, it could be irony, whatever, but from the world I've been living in, I know better. So they do all they can to limit the unity that we're trying to build right now, but we got to work past that. Sierra Leone, I wouldn't be surprised if that is going on, if there's people trying to stop them from getting passports and this and that. Would that surprise anybody here? We know that that's what they do, so we gotta get ready. I was watching documentaries on South Africa about these white Germans who were upset with South Africans living a luxurious life in SA and felt some kind of way about it. Are you talking about South Africans, the black people, or South Africans, the Europeans who got there a little later? They're the ones. I'm not sure who the Germans would be mad at, but if you clarify for me, I'll try to think about what I might know about that. Let me know when you get that gold. I'm working on it, man. Come down to Prestige and get your own, bro. When you going, I'll roll with you. I go when I'm in Accra. Prestige is maybe like 3.5 hours away, so it's not like an often thing. But yeah, when you go, you plan on going. You save up money to buy gold. You go and see the sights and this and that. My business partner, his blood brother lives in Prestige, so whenever we go there, we just stay with him and we just hang out, and so it's a really cool place to go. But one thing that will surprise you will be to know that this has so much gold and so much resources, but it's a very poor city. I mean, so much gold to the point you can't like kick a rock over and crack it without it being a gold nugget inside. But yet at the same time, these people have to take those gold and sell it for like minuscule amounts of money just to have the most meager things. Prestige is not really a place that you would go to live, even though you think it would be, because it's the gold city, but it's more really like a mining city. Everybody who lives there pretty much either is a miner or their job is in some way supporting of the mining industry. So sounds nice as hell. It sounds nice as hell. It's not. It's a beautiful city because all of Africa, you can see the wilderness and the resources and the water and this and that. But it's just not what you would think when you think the city of gold. What it should look like if they had control of their own resources. So just want to put that out there so nobody goes looking up Prestige and gets a ticket and get there thinking they're going to be in Dubai or Alibaba. Alibaba. Can you wire money to Ghana? Yes, you can. Western Union money to Ghana. That's pretty much how I was doing it the whole time, back and forth. Western Union, as long as the person has their a photo ID and you can send a password, it's really easy. Yeah, the black people. Okay, so Jackson, let me try to read your question again. So Germans were mad at black South Africans for living lavishly. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't know exactly which event it is that you're talking about, but black South Africans who live lavishly are certainly not a majority, except for like royalty, and you've got people who have gone abroad to get education and come back, and now they live like kings among the people who they used to live among. But as far as like when you think Johannesburg, South Africa, you think the massive skyscrapers and the banks and even the African Central Bank, none of those things are owned by Africans. None of that stuff is black people. None of that stuff is us, you know. So I just South Africa is very Americanized, so you're going to see you're not going to really see that much of a big difference culturally trying to go from here to there. Let me see. Cassandra, you said I skipped your question. Let me see. Where? Is Ghana still experiencing floods? Are they doing anything to minimize the damage? It seems like it keeps happening. So again, the pictures that you see floating around, most of them that show like this big, huge disaster, bodies everywhere and this and that, is a flood from years ago. The flood that happened recently, from what I've heard from my friends and my family that's there, it happened, it hit Accra. It didn't really come to even Tema, where I live, which is not that far from Accra. So it's not like we're talking about this catastrophic global Noah in the Ark flood. It's coming, it's gone. And are they doing anything to minimize the damage? It seems like it keeps happening. You're talking about a flood over a period of several years, and there's not really much you can do to stop the ocean except for move further away from it. But yeah, I mean, it's like, one thing in Ghana is that, or in most of Africa, is they build their buildings to last. So with the exception of the water coming and going, you're not going to see like skyscrapers tumbling. You're not going to see stuff like wooden houses floating up the street. You know, you're not going to see stuff like that. They'll rebuild. We'll do what we have to do. African people are very resilient, and they've been through worse than a flood. So let me see. City of Gold, yes, white people. You skipped my question. Okay, so Cassandra, I hope I answered your question that time. Do people surf on the coast of Ghana? Yeah, they do. It's actually kind of cool to see. I still don't surf. I can't do it. But they've got surf shops. They've got surf. They got places where they teach you. You can give lessons, get lessons on the beach. Yeah, you can. People surf. I was going to wire money to Nana for the gold. I'm not in Prestia right now. And you probably want to wait until the time that it's time to go, because the way that the money fluctuates, you want to find out exactly at the time that you're going to get it, and you're going to want to lock that price in and get it that way. Like, trying to buy stuff 3-4 months ahead of time in other countries, especially African countries, is hard, because the way the money changes, you just can't know. So it's best to do something within the week of when you want it done. Is it safe to visit Africa? Yes, it's safe to visit Africa. Please visit Africa so that you know it's safe for yourself. Does it bother you that people focus mainly on Egypt and don't know anything else about the other African countries? It doesn't bother me, because even I started off wanting to know about Africa because of Egypt or Kemet. And if it takes Egypt, you know, to make people are interested at all about the continent whatsoever, then so be it. You know, if it takes the pyramids and gold covered whatever is to make you want to know about, you know, your ancient history, do it. You know, go for it. It doesn't bother me at all that, you know, people know so much about Egypt or try to know about Egypt, because whatever path it takes you to get over to the continent, you know, once you get there, the rest will fall into place. I was offline. Did you answer about GMOs? I didn't see a question about GMOs, but ask it again and I'll try to answer it down later. My bad. Do you know around about the price to gold? No. The last time I checked was over a year ago, and gold was like $1,300 or $1,400 an ounce. So now I'm sure it's gone up and not down. So, but even at the time that it was $1,400 an ounce, you can get pure gold in Prestia for like less than half of that. So it's just a matter of what you're trying to buy, what you're trying to get, blah blah blah. Hidden Colors touches some facts on West Africa. Finally, we learn more about West Africa. I haven't seen the newest Hidden Colors yet, but yeah, 1, 2, and 3 were definitely hitting on something. So I would say get if you haven't seen those yet, it's worth the watch. not everything, nothing that you're going to watch at any time is going to be 100% accurate. Everything you have to watch with a level of discernment. But when I'm talking about just raw data being included in something, it's something to watch. It is definitely something to watch. Have you ever been to Orisha's festival? I haven't, not yet. Tell me a little bit about it. Maybe I'll check it out. But I haven't as of yet. No, I haven't been to that. You're handsome. Thank you. I appreciate it. This guy argued that Africans did not go to South America and build the Tolmecs. Wait, hold on. This guy argued that Africans did not go to South Africa and build the Tolmecs. That we need to stop giving each other misinformation, that they are sorry, I keep getting comments trying to keep up, that they are real natives. Jackson, whoever said that is not worth arguing with. Like, I mean, it's already been established that all humans came from Africa. Where the fuck else did they come from if they didn't come from Africa and build the old? Whoever he's talking about, whoever came from wherever, they came from Africa. So I'm not even going to start the long drawn out process it would take to have that pointless argument. They were Africans. Africans are the natives of everywhere. That's why you still have black Aborigines people in every country on every continent, from Australia to Hawaii to China to Japan to Europe to Vietnam to everywhere, to America, to Mexico. You have black Aborigines everywhere because that is who we are. We are Africans. We traversed the globe before anyone else, and we went everywhere and we spread our royal oats. Now, other people came to those shores after the fact and seen people there and did things and changed the way they look and changed the way they act, but that doesn't make them any less African. So yeah, I mean, quick history lesson. Jeez, why are we still talking about that? Do the country have GMO products like the USA? No. One of the things that I was happy about recently, last year, Ghana officially banned GMOs in the entire country. There has always been an apprehension against GMOs. Nobody's really like for it because we grow food and there's enough food, and you know, there's just not an issue of needing to have bigger crops or bigger produce, or it's just it's not a thing. So one of the issues was, though, bringing food in from other places, you can't be sure about its contents or its makeup or what it is, which is how, you know, they found out that they were getting plastic rice from China and still getting GM foods from America even after they banned them. So that's why it comes down to just growing our own stuff. So, but GMOs have been officially banned in the country. And the only way that they were getting in before was unintentionally from people buying stuff and they didn't know where it came from. But in Ghana particularly, they do not embrace GMOs. There was a vote about it. It got voted out. And it's just not something that's commonly seen. One of the things that people were bringing up to me is that the people, and I saw this with my own eyes, people who live in the villages, for instance, they still live off the land. They grow their own food. They bathe in the river. They drink the water, and you know, their life is 100% natural. When we went, for instance, to Mankesim, which is a village, if you go through my photos and my albums, one of them is called Crowning a New Chief. We went to this village called Mankesim where the girl and her family who invited me, their uncle was being crowned as a chief of his village. So we went there, we saw just the way that life is. We met so many people, and we saw that there are people in that village that were 130, 140 years old. They live natural. We saw people who, you were seeing like recent funerals and recent deaths. You'll see a sign that says so-and-so died at 106. What a shock. Gone too soon. And I'm sitting here like, what do you mean? Like, the person was 109. Wasn't it their time? Like, no, people live to 130, 140. 109 is a shock, you know, in these villages. But then in the cities, which is more modern or more advanced, quote unquote advanced, where people are drinking what's called pure water, which comes filtered through the tap. It comes through the sink like ours. They're eating foods that are imported from other countries. They're eating chicken and stuff from the USA. You know, they've got KFC here in there in Ghana. They've got what do you call that? They don't have McDonald's, thank the Lord, but they've got fast food. So those people in the cities eating that food, drinking that water, their life expectancy has dropped to 80 years on an average. They're living like a little bit longer than we're living. We're about what, 65, 70 ish. You know, they've dropped to 80 from 130, 140 years old. Come on now. So the GMO products have definitely, in the little bit of time since they have arrived, they have their effect has been very visible, and the people in the villages will tell you that, and they'll tell you that's why they still live in the village. So yeah, GMO foods not a big thing there, but I won't say it's not a big thing. It's there, but you can avoid it if you're making an effort to avoid it. It's easy to do. You know, because you can go to the local merchants every morning instead of the grocery store. That's, you know, how our family got around it. That's what we do. Let's see. Do you see any Asians in Ghana? I remember reading posts that over 1 million Asians moved over to Africa. Absolutely, yes. There's like Chinese especially. China and Ghana have a relationship, whereas we call it a relationship, but you know, a treaty, or, you know, a give me what you got so I don't blow you up deal. The relationship is that America takes 90% of Ghana's oil so that we don't go to war. That's what they call a deal. And then of the 10% that Ghana keeps, 50% of that goes to China, because China provides the machines that pump Ghana's oil out of the ground. So the oil that Ghana is left with is minuscule, but it's enough to keep the economy running, and that's all, which is the position that America wants all indigenous and black countries in. It's just enough to survive and kill each other for the scraps. But Ghana has enough resources to do so much. But yes, there are millions of Chinese in Ghana because of that. They work at the factories, they work at the oil refineries, they open up Chinese restaurants, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of Asians there. There's a lot of Europeans. There's a lot of Russians. There's a lot of different people in Ghana. It's not all black people, and it's not all you know, whatever. It's not all white people. It's very diverse. What was that you're drinking? That is some Arizona green tea. I'm not advertising. I'm not, and neither was Trayvon Martin. But I'm just thirsty. That's all. How is the water and food supply there? Just curious. The water supply is similar to ours, except for whereas we would have like bottles, mostly bottles. They have bottles as well, but the most popular way to drink water is from a sachet. It's like a plastic, like a little hand-sized plastic bag that you can like hold in your hands, like bite off like a little corner and like squeeze the water into your mouth. It's like the best freaking thing ever on a hot ass day. Like, oh my god, pure water. It costs like 15 pesoa, which is the Ghanaian way of saying a penny or a cent. And so you got water, and then you got water that comes out of your tap. Not a lot of people don't drink their tap water because they like bottled water and whatever the case may be. But yeah, water is water. And then the food supply, there's always food. The food is so good, man. Like, y'all gotta go try this food, man. Like, it's natural. It's like you bite into a damn chicken wing and you feel like you've never really had chicken before in your life, because this chicken that you're eating right now, this chicken right here, this chicken right here, this is chicken. That's how you're gonna feel. And so you can either eat stuff that's familiar to you. Like when I first got to Ghana, I was only eating like familiar stuff: fried rice, fried chicken, you know, stuff at restaurants. I had apprehensions about Ghanaian food. Like, not just Ghanaian, but African food. Like, I didn't know how it was gonna taste. Like, come on, shit. Like, y'all don't judge me. You know, all the stuff they cook with, like, really strong flavors and scents, and the stuff is just like it catch you off guard at first, but you get used to it, and it starts to smell really good and taste really good and this and that. So food is a big thing. You'll love it. You'll love the food, and it's not a big issue to find food and water. What cities in Africa are the best places to visit? There's 54 countries on the continent of Africa. Right now, I have only been to Ghana and Togo, which is the neighboring country of Ghana. The very next door is Togo. We kind of share power, so we're buddies. But in Ghana, which is the only place that I can really speak to, some of the cities that I would recommend: Accra, Tema, Takoradi. Takoradi is such a nice place to go. Again, Prestia, if you're interested in going to get gold. Osu, Ada. Cape Coast is where the castles are. If you want to go and see the slave dungeons, you want to go to Cape Coast. Just everywhere. I haven't been anywhere that I wouldn't recommend. Like, you'll have a great time. You just gotta go and visit and go with the right mindset and the right expectations. You'll have a great time. What other countries have you visited? Just Ghana and Togo. My first time going to Africa was like coming home. I'm not even an African, at least not in this life. Yeah, I mean, it has that effect on you. I can't say anything about that. It's true. From the moment my feet touched the soil, I felt like I was at home. So I think everybody else should try to. Yeah, maybe you were African in another life. you know, everybody is African actually. So I'm in Ghana, Kumasi. Hey, Abraham, what's going on, man? So I know you can't like talk on the video, but leave some comments. Tell everybody, you know, your opinion and some stuff about Ghana from an actual Ghanaian point of view, from somebody who's actually born and raised on the motherland. Although I'm sure people are loving would love to hear from you. I spelled Olmecs wrong. Yeah, I figured that, Jackson. I figured you were talking about the Olmecs. How do you feel about Louis Gates telling people misinformation on their genetics? Who's that and what is he telling people? Let me know. I'll give you my opinion. What the hell? Do you think the conscious black community are ostracizing black Christians and Muslims? I'm worried that this is going to cause disunity in our black communities. Well, do I think the black conscious community is ostracizing black Christians and Muslims? It's happening. I can't say that it's not. And you could say the same of the opposite. You could say that black Christians and black Muslims and black people of all religions who want to hold on to their religions are also ostracizing people who want to let go of religions. There is that battle where, you know, you just have a fundamental disagreement of views that has come because, you know, not to be condescending or to sound wrong, but there's been a level of awakening where a lot of people are looking at other options of life. Even all the people who quote unquote are conscious don't agree on the same thing. All they agree on is that there has to be more, you know. And so people who are religious who maybe feel ostracized, it's not like they're necessarily being specifically attacked in every situation. There are some situations where they are by some people, but at the same time, you know, it can't be always taken on a personal level. If I was to take it personal every time somebody called me a conspiracy theorist or told me I was going to hell because I didn't believe in Jesus or whatever the case may be, I wouldn't get very far because I'll spend every waking moment defending myself or whatever the case may be. But, you know, you just got to be realistic and realize that, you know, we all, just like people who are religious, will still tell you there's many paths to the same place. You know, you got to believe that about, you know, whatever it is that you believe in too. You know, people are going to eventually come around to what makes sense, you know, to them and everything else. There was a time that I was just as heartfelt on religion or whatever as the next person, and at that time nobody could tell me nothing, and I felt ostracized every time somebody would try to even suggest that I think about another way. So, you know, there's going to be that that dissent. So sorry about that if anybody does feel ostracized by anything that I personally say about religion. But at the same time, I feel like if you are as dedicated to what you say and you believe in it as wholeheartedly as you do, then you're going to say it because you believe it, and it's not going to bother you that somebody else doesn't agree, whether that's religion or whether that's me talking about a damn ancient spaceship on the moon. You know, you're going to go and talk about what you feel is passionate, and you're not going to care, you know, what somebody else thinks about it. It's only going to cause disunity when people can't realize that it's about what we have in common that matters. You know what I mean? If I was talking to a person and they agree wholeheartedly on everything I'm talking about, and you know they want to do you know, they want to fight against white supremacy and XYZ and this, that, and the other, but they want to sit down first and say in Allah's name, what the hell does, I don't give a fuck, that don't matter to me. Now let's go get this motherfucking job done. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I see that. It's only disunity if I'm gonna sit here and be a hard ass and be like, no, you said Allah, I ain't no Muslim, I can't get with it. Nope. You know, and that's ignorance and that's dumb as fuck. So just being honest, you know, it can only cause disunity if we let it. But people of different ideas and different beliefs and different, you know, whatever's can still come together and get one job done. All we got to agree on is the one job. That's all. That's agreement that's necessary. Plastic rice. What the fuck? Plastic rice. Yes. Google it. Recently, this is within the last month or two, China was caught importing plastic rice mixed in with real rice to, you know, offset their profit margins, whatever the fuck Chinese people do. Not being discriminatory against Chinese people, but the Chinese government shipped this motherfucking plastic rice to Africa. So if you don't like it, bitch, talk to your government. Now, that's great. No need for GMOs. Thanks for the answer. Keep up the great work. Good on banning GMOs. Yeah, I was proud of that, man. Ghana, y'all deserve the biggest heads up and hands up and shout out for that, because you talking about people who, I mean, much love. I know Africa. I know the reality about Africa, but you talking about people who, for the world, have been told that y'all are, you know, less civilized or ignorant, or you don't know this, or people can tell y'all anything, this, that, and the third. Y'all are the country that banned GMOs. Y'all said we don't want that shit. It don't make sense for me to eat no plastic food that never rots, and you know it has pesticides built into the DNA of the food. That don't make no sense, and we banned it, and that was the right thing to do. And then you got a country like America, who's, you know, quote unquote the greatest country in the world, with the greatest education, and we want to fly to America to get a college degree, but they not only have not banned GMO foods, but they have the vice president of Monsanto, the company that makes GMO foods, is actually the president of the FDA in America. So to say I'm proud of Ghana for not only doing that and banning GMOs and protecting their own health, but setting an example to say, look, man, we on cutting edge. We not some third world woo 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 dumb fucking foods that y'all can send y'all plastic poison foods to. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. So we got to be the global example, and we got to give our people props when it's due. Like, they banned GMO foods. Like, take a lesson, take a note, do the same thing. My phone died when you were talking about services and programs in Ghana. Michelle, go back, if you get a chance, just go back to the first video. I talked a whole lot about that, and if it doesn't answer your questions on those two, then just inbox me, and I'll try to get back to you about the programs. But Google the Ghana Joseph Project and the Fihankra Project. If it's African ancestor worship and there are patron spirits or orishas, so there are different festivals for each one. Oh, Janelle, thank you. I'll look into those, because I do like going to different like festivals and stuff like that. When I was learning about some of the holidays they have for the traditional gods in Ghana, they actually have festivals and holidays and different stuff like that for each individual holiday, which celebrates a different deity too. So I don't know if it's the same thing, but Yeah, I'm definitely into learning more about those. Can you say something in tweet? um, what should I say? I don't know. What do you want me to say? Tell me what to say. Right, white rice is bad for you anyways, but yeah, Jackson, plastic rice, plastic lettuce. How are the colleges over there? Also, do they have a lot of barber shops? When I move out there, I want to open up a few, also a personal training studio. Colleges, I touched on that a little bit earlier. There's some nice universities in Ghana. Regardless of what you want to study, they've got options for you. Do they have a lot of barbershops? Yes, man. You got like 3 or 4 barbershops on a block. And barbers, haircuts are cheap. I got a really good barber. I was seeing him when I was getting my hair cut low when I first got there. He had chopped me up. It was 5 cedis, 5 Ghana dollars for a haircut, which is $1.25. So I know y'all paying what, 25.99 plus tip, but yeah, haircut costs $5, man, or $1.25. Let's see. When I move out there, I want to open up a few and a personal training studio. Yeah, man, open up a few barbershops. There's money to be made, especially if you have if you can say like, oh, I'm an American barber. Hate to say it like that, but it has its perks, whatever you want to call. You know, the same way if an African hairstylist came to America and said, I'm an authentic African stylist, she'd get more business. It's the same concept. So let's see. I was watching Jill Scott TV show when she was in Botswana. She said the dirt that blows on you actually made your skin very soft. What products do they have for your skin over there? I notice oils work better than lotion for me. Yeah, most people, you've got all the same lotions and Clearasil and all that crap if you want to buy that, or if you already have that regimen and you want to continue it. But most people use natural oils. Like, most people use coconut oil for everything, from shampoo to toothpaste to, I mean, coconut oil is like magic. Then there's like just about everything has a natural version. You know what I mean? Everything's made from herbs or something like that. And most of those things you can also get from the Aponte clinics, the same ones who treat you for like illnesses or broken bones or whatever. They have herbal mixtures for everything. As far as skin, it's all in the sunlight, baby. You know, keep your skin in the sun and eat some of that healthy, authentic Ghanaian food. Your skin is gonna blossom. I mean, like, you're gonna love it. So KFC, well, is the chicken real chicken? No, they actually import the same creatures that they use in the American restaurants to put in the KFCs over here. It's not real chicken. One of the first things you'll notice when you eat Ghanaian chicken is that it's smaller, because a real chicken is not fucking 52 pounds. So you'll see that, like, once you eat real chicken, you'll instantly notice every time you have another piece of fake chicken. One thing I believe we as black people have to come together and have complete sovereignty. Until that time, we are headed for another genocide. Brian Campbell, absolutely right. There's nothing else that we can do besides unite. You said it best. We have to come together to have complete sovereignty. In any other way, we just a broken people with a broken continent that we're not even on. And it's struggling and crying out for us, and we got every other reason why we need to do everything else besides go back to it. So yeah, until we come back together, we are headed for another genocide. That's absolutely right, and that's why it has to be our first priority to unite. And that means physically unite, spiritually unite, mentally unite. The fastest way for us to mentally unite is to physically unite. Get physically close to each other. Get off these, bus stops where the boats dropped us off and go back home. So that's idea number 1. Do they use coconut milk instead of regular milk? Because I'm lactose intolerant. A lot of people use coconut milk. A lot of people use goat milk. A lot of people don't drink milk, though. Milk and cheese and dairy products are not really popular in Ghana. Cheese especially. You rarely ever see anybody use cheese for anything. And I think that has a lot to do with us knowing that we're not supposed to ingest the milk of another mammal, because no other fucking mammal does that. But Anyway, you don't see a lot of dairy foods and dairy products being used there. Coconut milk is definitely in abundance because coconuts are in abundance. Shea butter, cocoa butter, blah 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 blah. Don't get shot with that Arizona. I know, right? You see, I got it sitting over there on the table. I just take occasional sips. I already know I might get shot through the computer screen. Let's see. Pure water. Jill Scott said they eat bugs like chips in a bag. Oh my god. I'm not going to say that's not true. Maybe the country. She said she was in Botswana. I mean, it could be a snack. I don't know. I can't sit back and judge all the habits of all African countries because I don't know. There's countries where they eat stuff like what's called bushmeat, which is small like animals and rodents, like how people in the South, in America, in the country, what we call the South, will eat like squirrels or raccoons or whatever the case may be. Any small animal that runs around in the bush is called bushmeat. So they eat stuff like that, and I know that, I mean, I've never heard of eating bugs, but I'm just not going to say that no African country does it because I don't know. But in Ghana, I've never seen anybody eating bugs. I'm just going to say that. What are those puff balls that they eat that's sweet? Jackson, man, my man, those are called bow float. It is so freaking good. Like, it's this lady who walks around the neighborhood. I sit up and actually wait for her to walk around at 3:15 every day. I will sit there and wait. It's almost like, it's like a donut. They bread them. It's like a ball and it floats in the grease. Like when they put it in the pot and they fry it, it floats. So they call it bow float. And it's like sugary, and so it's like a fried donut almost, and then they put them in these like glass baskets and they carry them on their heads, and you go and buy them, and it's like 50 pesos or 50 Ghanaian cents or 12 cents, and so I would eat like 2 or 3 a day, like, and I'll sit there and wait for her to bring them. But it's called Boflo. It's like so good, man. You gotta have one. Thank you. I love all natural. How do the people view Black Americans? I touched on that earlier, but if you missed it, just go back to the first video. But long story short, they treat us well. You know, I've had no issues. You are the second person to make the move. I believe I can do this. Thank you, Nana. No, you're welcome, man, and you can do it, man. It's not hard. I feel like the more of us that actually come and do it and can attest to how easy it is, and then come back and tell other people, that's where it's at, man, because this got to happen sooner than later. I have a calm, collected demeanor, and I'm talking like I'm trying to persuade, but inside I want to just like scream like, get a passport and get your ass on a plane, because we don't got time for this shit. But anyway. We got a mission, man. We're running out of time. You can do it. Just, you know what I'm saying, make it happen, bro. Get your passport. If you can get your passport, that's the biggest thing right now. They're making it harder and harder to get a passport, and nobody can go anywhere right now without that. So if you don't have like something that you know is stopping you, get out there and get it, and have that part done and over with, so that when you get ready to get your visa, when you get ready to buy your ticket, when you get ready to look for a house, you know, you don't have to worry about, oh my God, am I going to be able to get a passport? Have these new restrictions block me out, or whatever the case may be. You know, so just get on it, get a move on. I'm an atheist and my brother is Muslim, and he tells me I'm what's the name for a demonic person? Jackson, I'm not sure what your brother calls you. Is it a demon or a infidel, or I don't know what Muslims call demonic people. But I'm sorry to hear that. But if you were in Ghana and you were an atheist and you ran into a Christian and a Muslim, they may or may not invite you to church. But they're not going to sit there and argue with you, and they're not going to, you know, cancel their dinner plans with you. It's not a big deal if you don't have the same God as, you know, the person that's sitting next to you. You know, everybody, all those things were imposed, you know, on these African people anyway. So it's not like they're going to tear your eyes out, you know, for choosing a different version of something that was imposed. Ghana have a king and queen as rulers or president. I'm glad somebody asked that. One of the things that I really like is that in Ghana you've got both. The chiefs, the kings, the queens, they have the true authority of Ghana. And that's the way that it is in really most of Africa. Then there is the president, the political parties. You've got, here like America, you've got the Democrats and the Republicans. In Ghana, you've got the MPP and the DNC or whatever the hell it is. And that is the public government for them to have a face in the world. Without having a political party system and a president, you have no face and no voice in the world. You don't exist. You are worse than a third world country. And so in Africa and in Ghana in particular, you have that two-party system and you have a president, but the authority still lies with the chiefs and the kings and the queens. And there are chiefs and kings and queens in every region of Ghana. The way it works, you have the president, for instance, right now the president is Muhammad. He's the president by all intents and purposes. He was voted in and, you know, he is the president of Ghana in title. Now, if President Muhammad wants to make a land deal with Europe or with America or with some other African country even, with a particular piece of land or particular development in a region, he would have to go to the chief of that region and ask permission for that land or permission for that development or project to happen, because that land belongs to that chief and his people. So you have both. To answer your question, Cardave Hotep, there are kings and queens that have the authority over individual regions, and then there's the president who exists so that Ghana has a voice in the world. Paul Archibald, hey brother, good to see you. I heard about the rainstorm, I think in southern Ghana. How's everything over there in the section of the rainstorm? I touched on that a little bit ago. Exactly, it was more of that. It's not like this catastrophic thing that's going on that they are trying to paint up. Kari Matthews, hold, smoke break. This is right on time. Who you telling, man? It's been like, what, 2 hours I've been sitting here yakking? I'm about to have another smoke break too. Let's see. He said it isn't as bad. Those pics are old. Exactly. Okay, thanks. You're right. I like people think outside the box. Great answer, brother. You have to go live in Ghana. Man, Jackson, who you telling? This is a extended temporary visit back here. I'm like right now using every waking moment, doing everything you could possibly imagine to get back to the other side of the sea. If I have to build a plastic bubble and float over there. How expensive is a 4-year college education at an average college in Ghana? I don't know, because I don't know anybody who went to one of those prestigious universities. Like even my business partner who works with me, he was schooled at like a community level college for the architecture that he does. And then after that, he continued to school himself on the softwares and all that. But I can imagine that it's probably going to be as expensive as probably an American university. You probably need to either have tuition or a scholarship or recommendation, something like that. I can imagine it's probably just about as expensive because it looks the same. It's a really nice university. Quick question: if I wanted to land by the ocean and live off the grid like an Earthship, how are the laws for people who live off the grid? There's no rules and laws for people who live off the grid. If you own a piece of land and you want to fucking have a I can't even be as sarcastic as I want to be right now, but you can do whatever you want on the land that you own. How you say happy to meet you in tweet? You would just say like hello, which, oh my god, I'm so rusty, and plus I'm, what's the word, agriculturally impaired right now. But yeah, you would just say eteseng. Eteseng is how are you, or how are you doing, and the person will respond and say woso oteseng, or they would say that means like, or how are you, or eye woso oteseng, which is I'm fine, how are you. Wubutin. Anna, I think Anna answered you. Wutubin. Wutubin. That may be another dialect, but it sounds like it's probably accurate somewhere. Both float are so good. I know they are. Afwa. I have those little boflos and addicted to them. I'm telling you, every day I gotta have it. Is it hard for women over there? I want to move so bad. Yolanda, no. I mean, in what way? I don't want to misdirect your question or dismiss it. In what way do you want to know? Like, is life different for women than in America? In what way? And I'll try to come back to it. Is misogyny a huge problem over there where people have gender roles? It depends. In places where you are overly colonized and everything's very modern and real reality TV life and all that stuff, yeah, you got the real modern life where everybody has, man supposed to do this, woman supposed to do that, this, that, and the third. The more traditional you get, the more you see that start to go away, because in African tradition, the way we were before colonization, you didn't have this very misogynistic, every person has a role, every person has a definition, whereas the woman does this and the man does that. You had the woman doing just as much hard work and labor as the man. You had the man doing just as much cooking and baby raising as the woman. It wasn't like that, so the more traditional of a place that you're in, the more village like where it is you are, you'll see that you don't have so much of that. But the more modern and this and that, you'll see more like, oh, the woman trying to, I gotta have this type of husband, I want to be married, and fairy tale this and that, and it happens. Great way to answer my brother about the kings and queens also appointed president. That's the way it should be. Really enjoyed the live chat. Calling the Ghana embassy tomorrow. Good. Let me know how that goes. They're really good at answering a lot of questions, but at the same time, you still want to get a perspective too from actual people who live there. Sometimes even the people in the consulate, they are politicians. I'll leave it at that. What's up, Samuel? Samuel is helping me put together my blog so that I don't have to depend on Facebook to show people what I actually say, because you never know whether what you're saying is going to make it out or not. Video when you get to Ghana so we can see. Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, I'll be doing live. Well, the thing is, in Ghana you pay for your data by the gigabyte, so I don't know about that, but we'll see. I've really enjoyed this. You answered a lot of my questions. I appreciate it, Yolanda. I mean, that's why I do it for. I'm trying to make something happen, man. I ain't about that talk. We gotta get some action going. Like, we gotta get stuff popping. What do you do for fun? I go to the beach. I live at the beach. Look up Labadi Beach. That's the place to be. When you come to Ghana, you're gonna find me there. If I'm not at home, I'm at Labadi or I'm at Dream Crafters. Okay, because my mom and dad didn't teach us that. My dad did a lot of cooking and liked us to be really clean, but did work too. My mom the same with him. My grandparents were the same way. Is there a high crime rate? What kind of crime? As far as like shooting and robberies and this and that, I'll say I'll say no. It's not as much. As far as shooting, hell no. I heard about one shooting when I was in Ghana, and it was like breaking news. It was like, oh my fucking god, somebody got shot. What the hell? Like, who? How? Like, was it a person shooting a person? Was it the police? Like, how did this happen? What? It wasn't like whereas over here, you hear about somebody getting shot, and then okay, but did you want Lucky Charms or Cheerios? Like, it's not like that. It's very shocking, because it's a rare occurrence to see somebody lose their life in that way. As far as robbery, there's thievery, As far as people's houses being burglarized, you don't really see too much of that. Everybody's houses got it's concrete and pretty much fortified, but thievery you do see, but you also see people chasing after them and about to beat the hell out of them for stealing. So yeah, you see it, but you don't see it because people know better. How do you feel about black American men talking down on black women and what black women are supposed to do as far as raising children alone, etc.? That is such a big topic. I would rather focus right now just on people who want to move to Ghana. Not to dismiss, but I just don't want to get too distracted. But obviously, having to raise your child by yourself is an unfortunate circumstance, whether it's due to a man who stepped off or your circumstances, your significant other may have passed away. Maybe y'all just y'all not together, or maybe y'all are together and only one of y'all can provide. I don't know. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation, and nobody should really be judged for what they have to do to support their kids. You should be applauded that you are doing what you have to do to support your kids. I know I grew up in a household where my mom is a single parent and she had 6 of us, and shit, I know goddamn well everything wasn't peachy all the time. So, but I wish I would heard somebody talking down on my mom about what she had to do to this and that. We have a serious problem. So no, I don't get down with that. But I'm gonna stay on the topic. Will you do more cover songs? You haven't done that in a long time. Eventually. I used to have a studio in my house, so it was a lot easier when I just came home from work to bust up in the studio and do something. But it's like such a 3rd or 4th, 5th, 6th priority now at this point in time. A guy from Africa, forgot what part, he said that nobody is homeless in his country. They won't allow you to sleep outside. A family will always take you in. That's true. That's 100% true. In Ghana, what I was explaining to somebody there is that it's such a difference in being poor in America and being poor in Ghana. I'll just say being broke, because poor is up and down. Broke is motherfucker, you broke. You ain't got no money in your pocket, you broke. You are broke. If you are broke in America, you are just destitute. You out there. It's nothing that, I mean, you just out there because everything costs. Everything, there's a price for everything. It's hard. If you are broke in Ghana, you don't have no money in your pocket. First of all, somebody's going to feed you. Somebody's going to clothe you. Somebody's going to house you. Somebody's going to offer you assistance. You might not want it. You might be prideful. You might be like, I got it. But somebody's going to offer to help you. You're not going to just suffer by yourself. And that's one thing that I saw. Like, even if you saw people outside who were poor and outside struggling during the day, you weren't going to see them out there sleeping on the street that night. You know what I mean? People help each other. It was really like heartwarming to see that. Like, you're not going to see people outside sleeping under a whatever. People are going to help you out. Nice shape up. Thank you. I think people are asking random questions because we don't get to talk to you as often. I mean, I apologize, but I try to answer as many questions as possible when I can, but I can't get to everybody all the time. But I think this is a really good way to do it, whereas I can at least give a sentence or two to each person so nobody feel like I can't respond, because sometimes comments just get so backed up. But let's see. It's time for Nana to go, y'all. Yeah, I think I answered about 10 trillion questions. If there's more, I'll get to them later. Because I'm hungry again, and other reasons why I want to take a break. But this has been very eye-opening for me too. Like, I mean, I like to just know that people have so many questions and are genuinely curious, and I see that the trolls know better than to come here when I'm live and I can talk right back to their selves. You know, they don't do that. You know, they stay going and they let us have our conversation. So that's the smart thing to do, and that's how y'all might want to keep it. So let's see. I think my question is, how are the transportation systems? Also, do you have driving license? Do you have a social security number when you have a child? Transportation systems, they've got buses, they got taxis. There's so many taxis, like it's ridiculous. There's buses, there's the city buses like ours that take you around like the government buildings, and then there's the Trotro, which is like little vans and buses that like there's like a million of them, and they just stop at every corner and they go everywhere. So you always got to ride to somewhere. Do I have a driver's license? Yeah, I do have a driver's license, and I got vehicle registration too. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find my registration. Nope, couldn't find it. Didn't really look either, but I have that, and it wasn't really hard to get. Driver's license. I mean, it was supposed to take like 3 weeks, but I didn't want to wait 3 weeks. Let's see. We all going to Nana House when we visit Africa. Hey, come on, bring it on. Let's do it. I'm ready. We'll have a hell of a meeting of the minds. I mean, that'll be a one for the record books, the history books, the R story books. I'm so down to go. What's the best time to travel to Ghana? Is it the best to go in a tour group or as a first-time visitor? Have you visited other places like Cameroon? No, I've only been to Ghana. Best time to go? Go during like maybe November-ish. So you can go during like when it's cooler, because you gotta adjust to that heat, and you definitely don't want to you don't want to go over there in the peak of the heat and try to get used to it. Then you want to go when you can kind of ease yourself into it and break it in. You can't wait till you do this again. Got some questions, but I'll save them for next time. All right, Paul, I'll see you next time, man. Money fast forward shit, doesn't it though, Kari? I'm telling you, I got that license much sooner than 3 weeks. And thanks for answering the off the grid question. No problem, Paul. Yeah, like if you buy your land, once you buy it, you own it. If you want to start a business on it or a residence or whatever, it doesn't matter. They don't have the same laws and regulations. You gotta buy commercial land and have a zone and permits and all that. It's not the same. So yeah, it's pretty easy. Buy your land, open it up, do what you want to do. So thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for the questions. If you got more questions, you can add them on the video at the end after it's over. I'll still go back and answer it. No biggie. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Apparently this actually makes my life a little bit easier, a little less typing and a lot less talking. So yeah, hit me up, hit the inbox, especially if you got specific questions about moving sooner than later, or building, or looking for land, looking for property. I got you, so hit me up. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Deuces.